Hey friends, and welcome back to my corner of the internet, or welcome to my couch. Today we are starting a new series on my channel, and I'm not 100% sure what to call it. I got it from a channel called Pullin' Banana Books. I've been watching her series called Stories I Ate This Month for like years now. But basically she just like reviews all the books, the movies, the TV shows, like all the stories that she consumes in 1 month. And I love watching those videos because I love talking about stuff like that. And I watch a lot of movies and TV shows, and I read frequently. I wouldn't say a lot. I know there's booktubers on here that read like a lot. And so like I'm definitely not on their level, but I do read. And so I just figured that I love talking about things. I get really attached to characters and TV shows and stuff. And so I just thought it would be fun to come on here once a month and talk about all of the things that I consume. Books, movies, TV, stuff like that. And I'll just like review them, give you some like thoughts, some of my thoughts on it. And I won't be spoiling anything, so no worries there. I'm not spoiling any of the stuff. I also like watching videos like this so that I can get recommendations on what to watch, because you know, after you watch everything you think you want to watch on like Netflix and Hulu and stuff, you're like, okay, what next? What do I do? So watching stuff like this can kind of help you find stuff as well. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So this is January 2020's stuff that I watched and read this month. I don't want to call it Stories I Ate This Month because that's Christine Ricciot's thing, which I'll link her channel down below if you want to check out her videos and get some movie recs and stuff. But I just like genuinely don't know what to call it. So this is kind of like January/December, because if you watched my past video, I did go on like a little hiatus, and so I did watch a good bit of movies and TV shows and stuff. And I cannot remember what I actually watched in December and what I watched in January. Like, it's all blurred together to me. So I'm going to call it January, but just know that this was probably more so over the span of 2 months. Just putting that out there. Okay, so we're going to put it in categories. We have books, we have TV shows, we have movies. Alright, so how I'm going to be rating these books is just 1 to 10. 10 being like amazing, phenomenal, almost like perfect, nothing wrong with it, 10. And then 1 being like, I would not recommend this to you, I absolutely hated it, if that makes sense. So the first book that I read in January of 2020 was Christine Ricciot's book, which I know I just talked about her, so this might sound kind of weird, but she wrote a book called Again But Better. She's like one of my favorite YouTubers. I read her book, Again But Better, and it is like a rom-com. It is so good. I really enjoyed this book. I did the thing that you're not supposed to do, which is going on Goodreads and reading some reviews before you read it. You should never do that. Like, I love jumping into books without knowing anything about them. That's like my favorite thing. So anyways, it's a story about a girl that studies abroad, and it's like the best thing I can put it is a rom-com movie and a book. It has so many like pop culture references from like 2011 and like just the early, like the 2010s, I guess. I was about to say early 2000s, but that's not true. It's like 2010s, which was really fun. I really enjoyed it. So I'm gonna rate this like a 9.5 out of 10. I'm gonna save my 10 ratings for like best ever, you know what I'm saying? So 9.5 is like really close. I really enjoyed it. The thing that makes it not the best ever is there's like the relationship and the romance. I did fall for it and I enjoyed it, but I know that if I was in this situation, that it's just like a little controversial, I guess you could say. And that was a lot of the things I got spoiled on when I read it on Goodreads, was that I kind of knew that the relationship was a little controversy, but I still really enjoyed it, and I did fall in love with the couple in the book, so I guess I can't really like be mad about it. But yeah, 9.5, really enjoyed. You should pick it up. The movie that I watched this month was Jumanji 2, which I went to the theaters to see it, and it was so good. Like, okay, if you haven't seen Jumanji 1, I'm not talking about the original Jumanji from like the 90s or 2000s. I'm talking about the new Jumanji with The Rock in it. That movie is so funny. So if you haven't seen the first one, highly recommend. You should watch it. It's hilarious. It's kid friendly. It's fun. It's such a good time. It's also like, it's not like a kid movie in my opinion, because it was really fun for like me and my friends to watch. But kids would also enjoy it. Alright, so we went and saw Jumanji 2, which you can actually watch Jumanji 2 without seeing the first one. Like, there's a couple jokes that wouldn't make sense if you didn't see the first one, but overall it has its own plot, its own arc. It was really good. The characters get switched around. It was really funny. It was fun. I would honestly say Jumanji 1 and 2 are like equally funny. They're equally fun. All of those things. I really liked it and really enjoyed it. I'm going to just give this a 9 out of 10. I really liked it. So the next movie that I watched was Burlesque, and I've actually never seen this movie before. I kept seeing it on Netflix, and the little thumbnail was Kristen Bell, and I kept thinking to myself, like, I've seen Kristen Bell in a lot of movies, and I've never seen her in something like that. Kristen Bell's not even like the biggest person in the movie. There's Christina Aguilera, there's Cher, there's a lot of actors in that movie. But for some reason, Kristen Bell was the one that stuck out to me because I watch a lot of rom-coms and like romance and stuff like that. And so like she stuck out to me because she was the person that like I knew the most. So she was like the biggest person to me. But like to the world, Cher would probably beat that. Anyways, the movie was actually really good. It's kind of like a rom-com, I would say. It follows like this girl going through like her career. There's some romance in there. I would say it was a rom-com. It was actually pretty fun. I enjoyed it. I don't really have anything negative to say about it. It was entertaining. It was fun. It made me want to go to a burlesque show for sure. But yeah, it was fun. It was like basically a drag show for women that dress like women instead. Like, if that makes sense. So yeah, it was really fun. It was entertaining. It was fun for me to see Kristen Bell out of like her normal element. She's kind of like a bad guy in this movie. And I don't know, I've just never seen her act that way, and I've never seen her dress that way. So like, it was fun to see Kristen Bell out of her element. But yeah, I really liked it. I think I'm going to give it like a 7 because it wasn't like phenomenal to me, but it was entertaining and it was fun. So I'm just going to make 7. Entertaining and fun, but definitely not favorites, if that makes sense. Me and my husband always have a show that we're watching together at like all times. So it's just like our thing that we like default to watching. If we don't have like a movie or like a show that comes on TV to watch, we default to this TV show. And so what we decided to watch in January/December was The Fosters, and my siblings have watched this show, and so I thought beforehand that it was like too teeny boppy for me, but it was still like fun and enjoyable. I really enjoy TV shows that are like family oriented, and so I got that out of this show. And it was teeny boppy. Like, there are definitely scenarios, and like all the kids in the show are in high school, and so like it is teeny boppy in that way, but it wasn't too bad in my opinion. Like, there was definitely like situations or episodes where I was like, it kind of like, oh, that was cheesy, or that was like really too young for me, I guess. But like overall, it was fine. I think I would rate the show overall, because like we watched the entire, I think it's like 6 or 7 seasons in December and January. We ended up watching the entire thing, and so I think that I would rate like the overall series like an 8 out of 10. I almost said 7, but I think 8's good, because like I was entertained. I did enjoy it. I did fall in love with some of the characters. I'm not like die-hard fan for them. That's why it's not like a 9 or a 10. But like, I did fall in love with some of the characters. They reminded me of my siblings. It also opened your eyes to like the foster care system and like how to foster kids and adopt kids and stuff like that, which was like really interesting to me, because that's something that like I would definitely want to look into in the future. The next movie on this list is Star Wars: Rise of the Skywalker, and I don't know about you, but I really enjoy the new trilogy. I wasn't a big Star Wars fan before this trilogy. This trilogy actually got me into Star Wars, and I went back and watched the other trilogies, and I'm now a pretty big Star Wars fan. I love Star Wars. My favorite character is Chewbacca. I love him, would marry him. I just love him. Anyways, this isn't a video about how much I love Chewbacca. So this was the end of this trilogy, and my cousin, after she saw it, she said, I feel like they just took all of the fandom things that everybody wanted to happen and they stuffed it into the movie. And I do feel that way, but I'm not mad about it. Like, they did take a lot of the, like, fan fiction, fandom stuff, and they put it into this movie, and I'm not mad about it at all. It was fun. It was a fun ride. I've heard a lot of people say that it felt really rushed, and, like, the plot was rushed, and it could have been 2 movies, and, like, I do agree with that. But overall, the movie was entertaining. It was fun. I would watch it again. Like, it was fun. It was a Star Wars movie. Like, it gives you all the feelings. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10, or I'm stuck between like a 7.5 and an 8 because, like, I don't know. I just don't know. It wasn't like perfect and it wasn't my favorite, but it was fun and it was enjoyable. So somewhere between a 7.5 and an 8. That's what I'm feeling. Oh, the next movie that I watched was Taylor Swift's Miss Americana. I actually really liked this. I used to be like a huge Taylor Swift fan, like back in middle school, high school, was a huge fan. So after watching this documentary though, I was like kind of wanting to get back into listening to her music, and I don't know, like I just like learned a lot of things. She talks about she talks about a lot of important things. She goes over a lot of like how it is to live in the life of fame, and she kind of has this nice timeline in the movie of like things that were definitely in the media, like you would have remembered them happening if you keep up with the media or Taylor Swift at all. She kind of like gives you this nice timeline of like her starting her career to now, and it was like, I enjoyed it. I thought it was interesting. It's a documentary style, but it is like in a nice sequenced. I liked it. I learned a lot. It made me want to get back into listening to her music. If you don't like Taylor Swift, or you're not really like interested in learning about her and her life and like how she's grown up in fame, kind of, because she started when she was like 15. This definitely isn't the movie for you, but if you're interested and you like her, definitely recommend it. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna give this like a 7 out of 10. It was fun. I would almost like rewatch it with somebody if they wanted to rewatch it, but it wasn't like fantastic, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, 7 out of 10. The second TV show that we watched in January was The Witcher, that just came out on Netflix, and this like just came out, and I think we binge watched it in one weekend because it's just like one season, a couple episodes. I don't remember how many episodes. I want to guess like 7 or 10. I don't remember. I'm sorry. I'll put it on the screen. But so my friend kept saying like, I think that like The Witcher is from a video game, and so hearing that, I was like, oh, I'm not really that interested because I'm not really like into video games, so I didn't think I would be interested in it. But then my friend kept saying, no, it'll give you your Game of Thrones fix, because I was a huge Game of Thrones fan, as I'm sure a lot of people were, and so it gives you like that fantasy fix, and so I was like, okay, I'll try it, and I really, really, really liked it. So it is similar fantasy. It's like in the same fantasy type category as Game of Thrones, but the way that they tell the stories are different. Like season 1 of The Witcher was fantastic. I really enjoyed it, but I do think that if Game of Thrones took that same storyline, that they would have fleshed it out differently, and it would have been like 2 or 3 seasons, because Game of Thrones like takes their time. They like really flesh out every single character and every single thing. Hi, Cooper. They just take their time to do it, and in The Witcher they didn't like flesh out every character. They just fleshed out like the main characters, which is fine. I really enjoyed it. I really liked the main characters. I really liked the little girl in it. I just liked it a lot. I don't know. It was fun. I don't want to like say too much and spoil it. So if you were into Game of Thrones, you're looking for a fantasy TV show fix, or you're just looking for something similar to that, I would definitely recommend The Witcher. It was really good. Don't let the whole video game thing like scare you off from it, because it almost scared me off from it, but it was really, really fun. I'm actually going to give this a 9 out of 10. I really, really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun to watch. It was entertaining. It was badass. It was just like pretty fantastic. So yeah, 9 out of 10. The next movie that I watched was Frozen 2. I took my sister to go see this movie, and it was amazing. I can't even remember when we went and saw this movie, but when I was thinking about movies that I've recently seen to write down, this was the first one that popped into my head. because I went to the movies and saw it, and I had such a good time watching it, and I just liked it so much. Now, I did really enjoy Frozen 1. I really enjoy most of the new Disney movies that come out. I haven't like seen a newer one and not liked it. So I know a lot of people give Frozen, the first one, a bad rap and they don't like it, but I loved it. I would almost go to say that Frozen 2 is better than Frozen 1. The comedy in Frozen 2 was so great. Like, it was so good. Olaf, Kristoff, Sven, so funny. Kristoff has this one part in song that had me rolling. It's so funny. I downloaded it on my phone because I just had so much fun watching it that I was like, I want to sing that song and know it. So I downloaded it on my phone. Frozen 2 has its own plot, its own situation. Like, you could watch Frozen 2 without seeing Frozen 1 technically. You just wouldn't have that like character building. I recommend watching Frozen 1 first, just so like you know the characters and stuff a little bit better. I don't want to spoil anything, but honestly, that movie made me laugh. It made me cry. I had so much fun watching it. I'm going to, and I know this might sound crazy, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. I loved it. Like, I want everyone to watch it because I think Frozen 1 got such a bad rap, and I think that Frozen 2 could redeem that. I think you should watch it. 10 out of 10. It was so much fun. The fourth movie that I watched this month was P.S. I Love You. If you know me, then you know that I love Nicholas Sparks. I've been reading his books since middle school. It's kind of just like a childhood favorite for me. He does like romance books, so like all of his movies pretty much get adapted. I mean, all of his books get adapted into movies. And so I haven't seen P.S. I Love You because I hadn't read the book. I usually read the book, then watch the movie, and I hadn't read the book yet. And I didn't really know what it was about because at all costs, I will avoid spoilers if I can. And so I didn't know what it was about, but I always see it on Netflix. And one day I was by myself, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to watch it. What the heck? I really didn't know what it was about. The only thing I knew was the little clip trailer thing that they do on Netflix, like when you hover over the movie. That was the only thing I knew about it. And so I went into it thinking that it was just this like love story, right? And I mean, it was a love story, but it was just like so sad. I think I cried the entire movie. Like the whole 2 hours of the movie. Well, there's like that first 20 minutes where you're just like, aw, and then you just cry for 2 hours. Like, oh my gosh. I mean, after I was sucked in, and so I watched the whole thing, but I think I actually cried the entire movie. It was so hard for me to just like, even if I would calm down to stop crying, I would think about being in her shoes and cry. I would just cry the whole 2 hours. Oh my gosh. But overall, it was a good movie. It was good. I mean, if you're looking for a good cry, I don't know if it would make you cry. Because for an example, like The Notebook, I've seen it like a million times. My friend showed it to me in like middle school, and she like expected me to cry, and I didn't. And I've seen it a million times, and that movie does not make me cry. It's really like heartwarming, and I love it, and it's really cute. But that movie doesn't make me cry. P.S. I Love You made me bawl my eyes out for 2 hours. So like, it might not make you cry. It's a love story. It's a romance, but it is sad. Like the overall movie, the tension of it is sad. So if you're looking for a good cry or just like a sad movie, go for it. It was pretty good. I'm going to also give this one an 8 out of 10. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. The next movie that I watched was Zombieland 2. That movie was, if you haven't seen Zombieland 1, like, what are you doing? Go see that right now. It's so much fun, and it's really funny. Zombieland 2 was fun, and it was funny, but it didn't hit the mark as hard as Zombieland 1 did for me. Like, it's still funny. It's got, like, the same vibe as Zombieland 1, but it's just, like, I don't know. It was definitely just, like, a sequel. You know, most sequels don't hit the mark as hard, except Frozen 2. Frozen 2, the sequel hits pretty hard. Anyways, Zombieland 2, it just didn't hit the mark. It was fun. It's entertaining. Like, if you liked Zombieland 1 or you just like comedies, like, you should watch it. I think you should watch Zombieland 1 before 2, just so, like, you understand the world. You need, like, that world building, because they don't even, like, bother to do that in 2. it's like, it is really funny, and it was really entertaining, and it was really fun. Like, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. I don't really know what else to say about it without spoiling it, but it was pretty good. Alright, so the next movie that's on my list that I watched this month was Primer. This is like an older movie. We have me and my friend group, we all kind of like take turns watching each other's favorite movies. And so this is one of my best friend's favorite movies. Overall, the movie wasn't that bad. And this is how I've explained it to him when I was like telling him my opinion about the movie. I think that the movie is a great idea, but it was like kind of a poor execution. That was like the category that I would put it in, because the movie was hard for me to pay attention to. The dialogue was kind of all over the place. I didn't really like even remember the character's name at the end. The plot was stronger than like the character base. So like that's always kind of hard for me, because I always want to get like attached to a character, and it was kind of the opposite of that. It was just very plot driven, which there's nothing wrong with that. But at the end, you're kind of left thinking like, wait, what? Like, wait, how did it happen? And usually I like mind twist movies. Those, like thrillers, I'm really into. But at the end of this movie, I truly didn't understand what had happened. They don't really like go over it. You kind of have to just think on it. Which my friend did explain it, and the more I thought on it for like weeks, and I was just trying to figure out how I really felt about this movie. And my overall thought is that it was a great idea, but it was a poor execution, because I think that like if someone redid it and they really like fleshed out the characters and like just made you, I'm not even saying like you have to completely understand the plot at the end, but kind of like tied a little bit more together at the end, just a little bit more, that it would have just been a little bit more cohesive for like anyone. But maybe that's the point. Maybe it's not supposed to be cohesive for everyone. I don't know. So overall, that's my opinion about the movie, and I'm gonna rate it like a 4 out of 10 stars, which I'm sorry. I like feel bad, but that's just how I truly feel about the movie. I think that it could definitely be redone and be made a little bit better. Okay, so the next movie that I watched this month was Ford versus Ferrari. My husband did drag me to the movies to see this. This was like one of his things that he wanted to do for his birthday. Let me preface this by saying that he has dragged me to the movies to see many movies that I didn't necessarily want to see, or like, you know, movies that I wouldn't have seen without him. But I do the same thing to him. Like, I'll drag him to rom-coms and things that he might not would see without me. So like, it's just it's a fair trade, if you will. So anyways, most of the movies that he has taken me to see are more entertaining, and like I end up coming out of it like, okay, like that was entertaining, that was fun, that wasn't like that bad. Ford versus Ferrari, on the other hand, was, in my opinion, and I'm sorry if you loved this movie, so boring. That movie was so boring to me. Like, there were parts and scenes where I was like, oh, that's cool, or I was like into it. They do a lot of character building, which I really enjoyed, and I did like the characters, but like the plot was so slow. And like, oh my gosh, like by the time they got to the race, I was like, has it been 3 hours? Like, it hadn't been 3 hours, but it just felt like it took forever for the plot to like just get to the point, I guess. I don't know, there's just a lot of slow points, and to me it was just really boring. So it wasn't the worst movie that I've ever seen, but I was bored for a lot of the movie. There were definitely scenes and definitely parts that weren't boring and that were entertaining and fun, but the majority of the movie, in my opinion, was like slow and really boring. So yeah, character building was great. The characters in the movie are great. The plot was a no for me. So I'm gonna also give this a 4 out of 10 stars. Alright, so the last movie that we are going to review today is Ready or Not. This movie looked so fun to me. Like, I saw the trailer for it and I was like, I have to see that. I really like comedies, and I really like thrillers, and I really like rom-coms, and like those are like my things that I like the most. And so like it kind of seemed like it had a little bit of everything in it, and it kind of did. Like hide and go seek, but they're like hunting her, and that's like the whole movie. I'm not gonna say anything else. But it was really fun. It was really funny. I loved it. Like, I almost want to give it a 10 because like I really, really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was so much fun to watch. But I think I'm going to give it a 9.5. I don't think that it's quite out of 10, but it's like so close, you know? Alright, and that's going to be all the movies and TV shows and books that I reviewed this month. Don't forget to comment down below if you can think of like a title or a name for like the series, because I don't want to like have to keep saying like the movies, TV shows, and books that I read this month. Does that make sense? So let's try to come up with a name for it, because I want to do this every month. This video is probably a little bit longer than like the videos will normally be if I do this once per month, because this was kind of like a combination of everything I've like watched and read in January, December, and I think that I accidentally put one movie from November in there, but whatever. Like, we're gonna just call this the first one, and then the ones from here on out will probably be a little bit shorter, because they'll only have 1 month in it. I hope you enjoyed this. Please comment down below if you've seen any of these movies, if you agree with my opinions, if you want to debate over some opinions. Like, I'm totally down. I love talking about stuff like this, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!